Good morning. This is Paul Penner on location at Buxton Center Elementary School. Just want to get out to the community the information that we know about the PFAS testing, the PFAS testing that some of you have heard a little bit about. Channel 8 did an article on it. I just wanted to give information to our community to hopefully have you feel more comfortable about the decisions that we've made at MSAD 6 and moving forward in testing. I did quite a bit of work on this last week. Our maintenance department, Sean Sheen is here. He's going to join me, talk a little bit about the PFAS testing to bring reassurance to our community. We did quite a bit of discussion. The maintenance department, have been in discussion with the Maine Drinking Water Program continuously, and especially when the voluntary testing did come up initially. I personally called the state myself to find out more about the testing and how we were selected as a site. Given the concerns that they came through out of the Arundel Farm, which initially where this showed up. And the Governor Mills has since then put a task force together to study more about what's going on in the state of Maine. So for us at Buxton Center, we were identified because they had determined at the state level that 1,000 feet from a farm that has used or using sludge may or may not be a concern to the drinking water supply. When I asked them about the distance and the 1,000 feet, it seemed to be pretty unclear as to the data and the information as to what they were using. What we do know, and if you go on the site and what you can learn about PFAS on that chemical, that forever chemical that's used in Teflon or in foam, that we know that in areas of high industry, and that it was used for years ago, industrial products such as clothing or Teflon or foam around airports, in mills, and those areas would be high areas of concern. But we also know that sludge and farming in sludge could be where some of this PFAS chemical is coming from. So we're not quite sure as to, in our issue, as to the whether there are factors that we should or shouldn't be concerned about, and the state couldn't clarify that for me when I talked with them. I asked them about the testing. More than half of the districts, the areas that they had asked for people to voluntarily submit into testing, have refused to do the testing. And one of the major concerns isn't that people are not concerned about the health and well-being of the school communities. The major concern is that they have not solidified a remediation system. So when talking to the state, they asked if we were interested in being involved in it. I said, well, currently we had not selected as one of the voluntary sites to be testing, but if we were to, can you help me with a remediation system and how we would reconcile that? And they were unclear about whether they could, but they were very willing to get me in touch with a water purification company that could then help us figure out what that issue was. And then I also added, my concern with that is that the budget was settled in June. We don't know what we're really getting into in those issues, and how do we mitigate those if they're, those costs, and do we know what those costs are going to be, which they couldn't answer any of those questions, but did offer potentially a loan program. So again, I'm going to let Sean speak a little bit to the issue. I wanted to bring hopefully some reassurance to our community that I think that it was a voluntary testing program that they were involved with, and I think we look at all safety and security issues for our school community, and this is an important one, and we have not walked away from that one. We want the community to feel assured that we are staying in touch with the drinking water program, and we will make sure that we have a safe school community and environment. And I would just, as I leave this and let Sean talk a little bit, in all of my research and the reading I did over the weekend, it kind of reminds me a little bit of driving down the road on a safe roadway that we feel in general is a pretty safe thing to do until somebody's on the wrong side of the road and it's not so safe. This is what I feel like this issue has just continues, and if you look at the information, there's so much information out there. And one of the things that is highlighted in many of the articles that I read were that we should be more concerned, or we should be very concerned about the leafy products or the farm products that we consume from across this country, not knowing what type of fertilizing product that farmers are using, not only locally, but again across this country, that those are issues. So this issue is quite large and quite extensive. So we will stay on top of it. We will continue to work on it, but I want to hopefully bring reassurance that we are paying attention to it currently and talking to people about what the right decisions are for us to make to keep our school community safe. Now I'm going to turn it over to Sean Sheehan, Assistant Director of Maintenance Department.
Good morning. I would just like to follow up on what Paul said. What we know today is that back in June we were selected as a voluntary test site for PFAS because a farm within 1,000 feet of us was using a sludge product. At that time, we did not enroll in that voluntary program because We didn't want to identify a problem and now have a solution to fix that. So we've been working closely with the Maine Drinking Water Program to follow any standards or mandates that would be coming forward in the near future. And when those standards and mandates are developed and put into action, we will of course follow all of those to the letter like we do with all our other drinking water programs. At this time, we feel like we made the best decision for the taxpayers and the students and staff of SAD 6, but on a daily basis, we'll be monitoring the situation.
Thank you very much, Sean. That's really helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me or give my office a call. Thanks very much and have a wonderful day.